Is having fun a sin? Yeah, you heard it right.
Sorry.
So for today's topic, we Kumar brothers are going to talk about is having fun a sin. So starting with the basics, what is fun and sin? Not in biblical terms, but yeah.
Etymology, yeah. Yeah, etymology. Having fun is anything that can decrease your stress, or anything that
Enjoy.
can
Mm.
spike your dopamine, anything that can make you live life a bit easier, philosophically, for if you are speaking. And it can be anything, and it's a broad spectrum of things from, and it's, I feel like fun or having fun or deriving fun is the most subjective thing one can have, because certain people have fun from just breathing, from just existing, and some people can't seem to have fun without going to the extreme end.
Such as
Epstein Island. Yeah, the files எல்லாம் சரி. Okay.
so what is sin? Something which is not morally right or biblically not right. Or maybe in blatant terms, something which will help you to go to hell.
Make you, yeah, in biblical terms, in
For
religious
those who
terms,
believe in hell and heaven, maybe
in religious terms, yeah, anything that strips you of your innocence, anything that you do on purpose that is
against the Ten Commandments or how many
against
other
any
commandments in other
commandments, or
religions.
against humanity, against your fellow humans, against yourself, against your soul. So in certain cases, those can be classified as a sin in the most traditional terms. On the one side we have fun, and on the other side we have sin. We came up with this topic in particular because sometimes when you're on a grind, or sometimes when you feel like you haven't done enough, having fun or partaking in any recreational activities will leave you with a sense of guilt. And it's not just us. We have heard our friends talk about it. We have heard our peers and even people who we look up to talk about it. They feel like having too much fun, or in their own terms, it's like spending a hour or even 2 hours doing something just for the fun of it is somehow wrong to them, because they can be doing something productive. So for them, they, since they feel guilty from having fun, or since they do not have fun because they feel like it's a waste of time or it's something of a disservice, that's why we really wanted to explore why some people correlate fun with being a sin, or fun being a waste of time, or fun taking away from your purpose or your chances of winning big in life. Have you ever felt? I'm sure I know you have felt it, but you can explain about how you have felt that having recreational activities or having certain fun just for the fun of it, not expecting any money or not expecting anything productive out of it. Such activities, have they caused you guilt? And why do you think your psyche accumulates guilt because of it?
It's not about just accumulating guilt as such. Having fun in the sense, if you go to an extremity where you just constantly have fun, or another extremity where you constantly work. Me personally, most of the times I was, and sometimes I still am an extremist. So I either work and hustle continuously without having any relaxation or leisure, or when I get the chance for a bit of fun or leisure, I indulge in it too much. So I feel like moderation is the key, but times like when you have to hustle and step up, I think you have to sacrifice fun. Yeah, fun as in different stages and levels. For some, they have their standards. Starting off with playing with our dog, it's fun for both of us. Playing with our nieces and nephews, cracking a lame joke, taking out them for a walk, going to the playground. So that is also fun for us. Going for a ride on the highways, that is the next level of fun. Visiting a new place, playing PlayStation,
Hmm.
or sometimes going out with friends or singular friend. For other people, you are going to a party or a pub. So the level of damage it causes and the impairment it leads you for the next day, following day. That is when the guilt arises for most people. So if you spend a hour or so per week or maybe 2 hours and still get on with your work, or if you really want to push hard, you can sacrifice everything. So I feel like moderation is the key. Like 90 percentage, I don't think fun is needed. For 10 percentage to prevent the burnout stage and then relapsing for a couple of weeks to recover from burnout. So when you're about to cross the threshold, you can have a slight bit of fun for an hour or so. Then you can go back and continue your work. So yeah, moderation is the key.
I feel like that is the solution that everybody aspires to have. But oftentimes it's easier said than done.
So what is it that you're drinking right now, Joshua?
Coke.
So the reason the question was arise is we both are drinking around 200 to 250 ml of Coke today. So it's after almost 2 months, technically 1.5 months since we had Coca-Cola, of course. So maybe in the month of July, mid end, we might consume it again. So we are keeping this in moderation. We are not going to feel guilty about it. Only if one consumes it in excess, considering it fun or for relaxation, erodes their teeth, glucose levels spiking up, putting on more weight, and acidity level increasing. That is when the impairment occurs. So you feel like in the movie Mahan, it's Vikram will say in the end when he's pouring a glass of alcohol for himself. So moderation is the key. Both the extremes are bad. But if you're gonna stick on to one extreme which leads you towards growth, then for a span of maybe half a decade or so, you can incline to it. But after some time, you have to cut down from the extremities. But going towards the extremity of growth and productivity, that is far better, or that is the best option instead of going to the other extremity where having fun, being a douchebag, being a lousy ass fellow. What do you consider fun from your perspective, apart from playing video games and driving and listening to music
Yeah.
and playing
இது
with
எல்லாருமே
cards?
எடுத்துட்டா இல்ல what's the issue with the three things that you said?
Because I already mentioned it.
Those are the three things that
He likes creating videos, so stuffs like that. YouTube
editing,
videos.
YouTube videos, spending time with my nieces and nephew,
Said
spending time with my my puppy, our
already
puppy.
mentioned.
And occasionally the exploring around, not just driving, but after finding out new areas, new locations, trying out new things.
Like red light areas.
ஒரு ரெட் லைட் கூட போனது பக்கத்துல கால் கூட வச்சுப்பா. I feel like it's a good thing for me to have a limited number of things that I find fun, because, and I have felt it personally and firsthand, I have felt that having too many things that you think is fun might make you chase after all of those things within a very short span of time. So within a span of time you might have uh, only a certain amount of spare time to spend for one type of recreation, which could be the sitting down and playing video games or editing videos or taking a walk, whatever it is. But in your mind, if you feel like you have to take a walk and then also play a video game and then also listen to some music and then you'll feel recreationally satisfied, that is what I feel like is overkill or is over the board for someone, especially someone who's trying to push towards being a better person. In a way, it's an unavoidable thing if you constantly immerse yourself in a stressful situation, that you will eventually burn out. And in certain cases,
You do realize how diamonds are made, right?
yeah,
They don't get time to have fun, man.
and
You
that's
have to
the thing.
go through the shit. Like our dear brother, Tate's brothers have mentioned, What is fun? Why do we need fun? Only brokies have fun. They do say that, and they
Then they have
still do have fun.
all the cars, 17 cars.
17 cars, millions and billions of money. What demarcates them from the actual brokies is they work to such an extent, or after that, even if they have fun 24/7, they're gonna have a passive source of income, or they achieved success, a substantial amount of success. They're in that level. So most people would say this one sentence, like being rich doesn't give you happiness. And I remember Shah Rukh Khan saying, after you become rich, you become a philosopher. So only like money can change your perspective. So, and he has also stated that money does give you happiness, just like Eminem said, money buys you crazy rich as happiness. So does every sort of fun give you happiness?
Again, that's also a good lead up question. Some things make you feel, yeah, I feel like,
Does that piece of chip give you happiness right now?
I mean, it is tasty to eat, so yeah, it does give me some sort of happiness or delight, one might say.
So what is the difference? You're enjoying this, so does a fat, obese person does. What is the difference between you and him? Both are having fun now, so what's wrong?
You mentioned it already. Moderation
It's the key.
I also feel like what I was saying is when you're in a stressful situation where we can't help but feel stressed, then you have the option of taking a step back and finding things that you actually have fun in and take a break from the stressful situation to recompose yourself, to relax, to reconfigure whatever, recalibrate, and then come back into the fray with a fresh mindset. But there's also a set of people with the most famous example being the Gorgons, who love the absolute hell that being perfect requires.
You don't know me, son.
Not even
எடிட்ல போடி நான் போட் தூக்கி நகர மாதிரி. You don't know me, son. நான் கை வேணா மேல தூக்கிக்கிறதுக்கு. You don't know me, son.
Goggins, it isn't, one might say he's not perfect, but he's almost one of the legends of the modern world, of the modern age, especially in the social media age. And the one thing that he does is he pushes himself, and even though he sometimes say that he hates the waking up so early and taking a jog or taking a run, but he always pushes himself in that area and he finds comfort in pushing himself. He
You are
feels
deviating more into discipline aspects rather than fun.
no. What I'm trying to say is
He
there
doesn't
might
consider
be
that as fun or fun.
there might be a solution to this debate that many people have. I need to push hard. I need to work. I need to provide for my family. I need to build a legacy. I can't spend even a hour a day relaxing. I can't allocating time for something that I have fun in, because that will push me back. That will draw me back. Is what many people's mindsets are. But there are a certain set of people who find fun in the stress that they put themselves in. As in, they find fun in the ability to have stress or in the ability to be pressured. Some people genuinely, they don't just act like they have fun. They genuinely have fun being in the thick of it. Like certain people, a common example or a more obvious example would be people who genuinely love fighting. When they are in the thick of it, when they are bloodied, when they have broken ribs, that's when they actually begin to smile and begin to have fun. So people who are genuinely obsessed with a certain thing that they are doing will begin to derive fun from the thing that they are doing, will begin to derive fun from the stress that they are having. And it's not just you having to be obsessed with something in order to have fun from it. You can change or rewire your brain to be thankful or to be grateful or to be fulfilled from the stress that you're gaining, from the stress that you're in. So I feel like that is one of the solutions that you can have, wherein you still have fun, but you're having fun doing something that pushes you forward towards your goal instead of doing something as a break from the main objective. So that is also one thing that you can do, but again, easier said than done. You have to find the mental fortitude. You have to change your psyche. You have to rewire how you think. You have to find your obsession.
This is not an easy process.
Yes. Until and unless you find an obsession that um, fills your the entire fiber of your being to push forward towards it, you will be stuck with going back and forth between having fun and being guilty about having fun.
So yeah, I think you need a sip. So moving on to the sin. So why do we feel guilty or consider something sin? For some people, for most people who are religious, they consider the fun part to be sin because it's against their religious morals and stuff. For other people who don't believe in those religious aspects, they're able to freely enjoy.
Or now we are talking about the actual like moral sin versus having
We,
fun.
we should actually classify it in different and see how it works. So can't just use the word sin and guilt maybe. For those who don't fall on a religious domain, they can call it as guilt. For those who are too religious and spiritual, they can call it as sin. Not spiritual, just religious. So if you are religious, yeah, you do feel guilty and feel like you deserve punishment for what you did. Why does it happen? Because that's how you're brought up from day one, your childhood. You were soaked, drenched that concept of right and wrong.
Indoctrination.
Indoctrination, exactly. I was coming to that term anyway. So yeah, so you are indoctrinated in such a way. Basically, your parents, your family, your relatives, they put you inside that fucking pond where you are completely drenched with the right and wrong, framed by whom? No one other than few people 100 years ago, humans who thought of it, or maybe God, because they feed that into your mind every time. For example, take someone. We'll start from the basics. Some might consider stamping on an ant, killing it as a sin. Some might consider hitting a dog on the highways as a sin, and they might do some offerings for that. Some might consider killing a human as a sin. It's against humanity, right? So yeah, that you can consider. Some might consider killing a goat, every kind of animal, or some consider seeing the opposite gender in a lustful way without even talking to them as a sin. Some consider having an affair as a sin, even if it's with the consent of the other person. So it just progresses to the both the extremities, starting with killing an ant up until killing a human. I think that's what is the other extremity from my perspective. Yeah, most of stuff from Epstein files. So what makes you distinguish whatever you're rooted with the root cause, the teachings in your childhood? So it is very hard for people to get out of that. But once if a person figures that out, understands. For example, there's still a debate about whether drinking is right or wrong in Christianity. Some consider drinking is fine, but getting high is wrong. Some say Jesus himself provided wine, so why would it be wrong? Some say it's okay. Some say you should never have a sip of alcohol. So what is right then? I guess you'll never know. Like just like Kanye said, unless you meet the gods in heaven, God in heaven, not gods. So ultimately, you have to explore things, and after a certain point or certain age, I won't call it certain age. You have to go through the experiences, go through the ups and downs. You have to come to one set of ethics for yourself. Then you can demonstrate what is good for you and bad for you. Once you decide that, you can live your life in your own terms. I mean, if you're religious, you can do that. If you're not, you can very well. That is why God gave you free will as well. But knowingly committing a sin every day or every hour or every minute or every fucking second or maybe every week or a month or a year, obviously is wrong. How do you think God is going to forgive you? I mean, you might ask me, how can you say that? But willingly and knowingly repeating a sin again and again in spite of knowing it's wrong, I don't know. There is another long conversation about that. Maybe in the upcoming videos we can discuss. So, yeah, sin and guilt, you have to set up your mind about it. Even if the same religion, people might consider it as a sin and it's not a sin. Different denominations. If you're an atheist or an agnostic, some might consider something guilty and some might not. So you have to come to a clear set of conclusion about your ethics. Only then can you lead a life which will be peaceful, not just peaceful, but without a guilty conscience. 24/7, if you're gonna have a guilty conscience, I don't think you can actually live your life, man. Living a life is different from just surviving it. We both like to live our life, not just survive. தமிழில் சொல்லுவாங்களே 60 வயசு வரைக்கும் இருக்கணும் பாடு. 60 வயசு வரைக்கும் வாழ்றது வேற, இருக்கிறது வேற. இருக்கிறது யார் வேணாலும் இருந்துடலாம், வாழ்றது வேற. So yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so to survive is different than to actually live a life. So that is it, to put what you said in Tamil into English. So yeah, when we are talking about
Bro is proving he's an
away from-
Anglo-Indian.
Is it?
Bro is proving the point he's an Anglo-Indian.
This must be reaching to the masses of 20. Sorry. So we are moving away from what we feel guilty about while we are pushing ourselves and into the more spiritual territory or the moral territory. And this is why I said it's a very subjective thing in the start of this discussion. So sin can be classified in a broad spectrum, as you had described in detail. And where you fall and where your mind falls is how you find peace. So if you can't come to terms with what you naturally feel is sinful versus not sinful, you will always have an inner turmoil. So that's what the dear brother was explaining about having a guilty conscience 24/7 and having stress all the time. So you will have to decide. A major process of your life will be deciding what is right and what is wrong. And if you actually put time and effort into deciding once and for all what is actually right and what is actually wrong, whether it may be based on your own reasoning or based on some religious texts or spiritual texts or some mentor teaching you how to live life, however it may be, once you decide on a certain set of morals, on a certain set of do's and don'ts, then you will have peace in your life. And that, no, you won't have peace then. Those morals should align with your own nature. So for example, some people would be like, in their nature they would be more prone to trying out riskier stuff, like having a drink every the week or every 3 days once, but somehow they feel like their religion prohibits them from having even a sip of alcohol. Then there's a misalignment between their psyche and their religion, which is their moral compass. So they will always have this strain in their self. They will feel the need or feel the want or feel the desire to do something which in its essence does not attack others, does not attack any other people, but just because a particular text or particular source told them that it's sinful in nature, that causes a disturbance within them. Because now they feel like, even if this is something that is contained within myself, because some religious scripture or religious text or a source of any context has told me that this is sinful in nature, I shouldn't do it. That will cause a disturbance between what they want to do and what they need to do. And I feel like that can be extended back to what we are talking about initially, the idea of...
You do realize that religious script or text was formed or made to be written by someone who actually formed the universe or the earth, for example. That is what they believe.
Yes.
So it is the ultimate superpower. So obviously they must feel guilty and scared about it.
Hmm.
You going against your nation, you must feel bad about it.
Hmm.
Except if you're for a beep, beep. So instead of just talking about concepts, we might rather move into something practical. Apart from the examples of going to a party or pub or consuming alcohol or excessive video games, we might move into some more practical examples, just considered fun and on a daily basis. So yeah, we might point out some examples in those aspects and help you guys relate more, and maybe finally come to a conclusion where how you can live with everything in moderation, whether you can actually get into something like called moderation or not. But the barrier of facilitator might be you coming out of the delusion. I know people might get hurt for this about certain things. If you understand what those certain things were, or if you understood, I feel like you're on the path of realization, but you'll never realize. So, yeah, one is those kind of things. And facilitator point of face, that is what I meant trying to tell you. Barriers, there are so many barriers around you. Look around the people around you. Every week, you who is watching this, you do commit a sin, right? Every day or every week. And then you go to your holy place of worship. You ask for forgiveness and you still repeat it. You've been doing that for over a couple of decades. Who knows how many years? But have you quit it? No. Are you dead? No. Are you living? Neither. You're surviving. You're still sinning. You're asking for forgiveness. It's a loop.
Cycle.
It's a cycle. You feel like you can never come out of it because you're a human. What we both are trying to say is we have heard so many people tell us, so we are trying to tell you, you can come out of the loop. Have we come out? That is an extremely personal thing. If you want, you can subscribe and pay $100 to watch that. So, from the society's perspective, from our fellow relatives who have told us, or friends and family members, yeah, you can come out of the loop. And how are they feeling after coming out of the loop? They feel euthymic, neither happy nor sad, not guilty and sad like how you feel, or go to the extremity of being happy for an hour or so. I feel like being euthymic is enough, at least personally for me. I don't feel happiness nor sadness. I can act solidly in most scenarios and be a stoic as well. So yeah, it's only through exposure, experience, and openness to experiences, the consciousness. Sometimes I do feel human consciousness is a tragic misstep in evolution, where we ourselves have come to such a stage where self-awareness and the realization might actually not be a desired goal a couple of hundred years ago or thousands of years ago, but we have come to this point. So things are becoming more and more complex. It can't go back to the way it was. Moving on from now, we are starting to become more aware of certain things. Even some concepts like the matrix, how we are being controlled and stuff. Considered one of the most intelligent human being on earth and the richest. Even today morning, June 13th, one of the first trillionaires on earth, Elon Musk, he says there's a large or like 99% possibility that we are controlled by a system or a matrix. So who are you? Who am I? I guess we'll never know. Anything can happen. So yeah, stick to your own set of rules or correct few things which you find uncommon or which you find righteous. Then follow it. If not, stick on to your religious things. But instead of being a lukewarm human being like how you are, I know you are. Look into the camera, look into my eyes or his eyes which is rubbing right now. I know you are lukewarm. You fall into the sin and you never become 100% righteous. So I try to act as if you're righteous. But what do you do when there's no one watching you? You are the person who you are actually when no one is watching you. That is what Jawaharlal Nehru said. So when no one is watching you, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Doesn't matter what you're thinking in front of hundreds of fellow men in a congregation or in a family event or in a institution. What do you think when you're alone? How do you act when you're alone? For most part, that is who you are. The stage is yours.
Talking about sin in particular, I feel like I have three certain things we can lead off of it. One is the philosophy of
Beep.
beep பண்ண கூட
Beep them.
சரி. On a serious note, so I was listening to certain conversations or certain lectures on the philosophy of sorry, what? The philosophy of sinning or the concept of morality. Few as in I remember three in particular. One is Kant's moral philosophy.
Who's Kant?
Kant is also a philosopher, as is Nietzsche, as is Kierkegaard, or Hume in particular. Hume was the other
You
one.
can see the pictures here because most people don't know about them. Since we both discuss and we learn and we're interested, we don't know. It's not like most common people would know.
So it's interesting to know how different people. That's why, again, for the third time, I'm saying sin is very subjective in nature. Morality is very subjective in nature. Nietzsche thought that nothing inherently is immoral.
So was Nietzsche a believer or a non-believer in?
Yeah, he was
religion?
a verdant non-believer in anything religious.
So that classifies all those things into guilt, not sin, since he's not religious.
Yeah, anything that is guilt.
So if religious people are watching this, you can't associate to it or relate to it.
Most definitely.
You will find it preposterous.
In fact, Nietzsche was so adamant about converting people from theism into atheism.
Oh, that's very bad, man. You can only convert an atheist into a theist. If you do it like vice versa, I don't know.
Yeah.
You would have heard the famous quote, God is dead. And it doesn't end there. It does follow up. We'll add the quote here. So yeah, continue.
எனக்கும் அந்த கோட் தெரியாது. So when we add it, we will know. I will know better. Nietzsche believed that a superior person is one of his most famous titles is Beyond Good and Evil. And the title in and of itself, what it delves into is morality is a human construct. And whatever we believe is a sin and whatever we believe is a virtue is purely based on our subjective nature and on the time that we are living in. And for Nietzsche, all that matters is if a person is capable or incapable. If he is capable of changing the world, if he is capable of making a difference, if he is capable of being productive, or he is incapable. So for him, the morality is a wasteful thing for even a human to consider.
புரியுற மாதிரி ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிளா சொல்லியா? நம்ம philosophy படிக்கிறதுனால ஈஸியா புரியும்.
For example, அதுக்கப்புறம் நான் இருக்கிறதுலே worst example நான் யோசிக்கிறேன்.
What are you afraid of?
So
Joshua will give an example. It's up to you to get whether it's offensive or not. So if you have an open mind, you wouldn't get offended. So this is a point of realization where you can see for yourself whether you're a person with a narrow mind or an open mind to certain opinions or constructs or different perspectives without getting offended. If you keep your mind straight for the next 5 minutes, you can survive for the next 50 years without having hypertension. So go ahead with the example.
So according to Nietzsche, even a person who was as immoral as Hitler, he was capable of changing the world, at least changing Germany into being the war machine that it was during World War II.
Bro was from Germany.
So he had a particular belief. Nietzsche doesn't delve into the belief of why we do things. He's only focusing on the nature of if we are capable or we are incapable of following through with our objectives. If we are incapable, we are less than a human being. If we are capable, then you are a proper, actual, functioning human being. That was what Nietzsche believed in, at least to my understanding. The second is Kant.
Who's Kant?
To explain what Kant believed in, we have to explain what Hume believed in. Both of them are like two sides of the same coin. For Hume, it is the objectivity of morality. So whatever happened, if a person does something with or without his knowledge, it is a sin. So the most famous example is if a construction worker is working and suddenly there are two scenarios. One is where he mistakenly tips a brick off and it falls on a civilian and he dies.
Take the most common example, Adam and Eve.
Sorry, we'll take about Adam and Eve. We'll consider two scenarios. One is where Eve knows and understands what the serpent was telling her and then gave Adam the fruit or ate the fruit herself. And the second scenario is where Eve doesn't understand the serpent and only eats the fruit unknowingly.
What do you think actually happened? It was just a chain of command from God. You shouldn't touch his bottle or something. I don't know what would happen if it touched the bottle or not. I was being instructed as to not touch it. Then I touched it. Only after touching it did I know that this is a sin, then I'll be sent out of this room. So, was it actually a sin? Was it actually a great fall? Said for the next episode. Yeah, continue.
So that is exactly what differentiates between Hume and Kant. So these two scenarios, for Hume, it is the objectivity. If you commit a sin, it's a sin. So for Eve, regardless of whether she understood what the serpent said or she understood what the fruit did to her, if she ate the fruit, she committed a sin. That's what Hume says.
But what is sin? Did Eve really know what is sin or not? What is right and wrong? What would be the consequences? How would her life been if she did or did not eat the fruit? Was she aware of it really? I guess we'll never know unless you die and meet Eve. Is Eve in heaven or hell? What do you think? Where is Eve right now? You can pass me the bottle, yeah? Will you? I mean, in the series Lucifer, Eve was in heaven though. Anyways, don't cut these parts, okay? Add Lucifer here. So yeah, continue.
We'll talk about Eve's own morality later. Now, what I'm trying to explain is the philosophy of sin being, from my understanding, one is Nietzsche's understanding, I have explained. Second is Kant versus Hume's. Hume's is objective. If you did something, you are held accountable for it, regardless of your motive for doing it, whether it's knowingly doing it or unknowingly doing it.
Sounds inhuman to me.
So even if you accidentally commit a crime, if you accidentally hit a person because the lights weren't on or because you committed a hit and run,
You'd have to rot in hell.
yeah, that is Hume's perspective. Kant's perspective is the intention behind committing something is very important. Even it is very essential to deciding whether a person has committed a sin or not. So coming back to the example where a construction worker that tipped off a brick that killed a civilian versus him throwing a brick that killed a particular civilian. Him tipping off a brick means that he did it accidentally, and according to Kant, he is guiltless. But according to Hume, he is guilty. On the other side, if he threw the brick, then according to Kant, he is guilty, and according to Hume, he is guilty regardless. So, intention, I feel like, is a really important thing that we often overlook in the concept of looking at sin itself. Because even if we talk about fun and sin, the
Can you
intention-
explain what will happen in real life practically? According
practically,
to Hume's or Kant's, what do you think will be considered? In a court where
Of course.
the honest are seated.
we both are not so well versed in code, but I feel like if a judge finds that the construction worker did it unintentionally, then it's manslaughter at best, versus him doing it intentionally, which is homicide. And so those two things will have two different sentences. I believe manslaughter will have lesser sentence than homicide.
What
So
is
even-
manslaughter for people who don't know the terms?
That's like doing something, according to my understanding again.
Based on watching series from Netflix
Yeah.
and Amazon Prime.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not studying law, nor have I ever tried to study law. So
Nor
based on,
has he killed anyone.
yeah. So yeah, based on my understanding, manslaughter is doing something that results in the casualties or deaths of certain lives, versus homicide being intentionally murdering someone or killing someone with for some ulterior motive, whatever it may be. So in that sense, our court, our system, I believe, leans more towards Kant's ideology of what is morality, what morality is. So again, coming back to the intention part, that is the main takeaway that I wanted to give when I was talking about Kant versus Hume. When we talked about fun versus sin, the intention of having fun should be very clear in order to not feel like we committed a sin, or in order to feel like we are guilty of something. The intention should be to derive some sort of relaxation, or some sort of fun, or some sort of respite from the work that you're currently indulged in. So it shouldn't be something that you're doing for some ulterior motives, or some you don't like it but you do it because it's in your routine. Those kind of activities, those will leave you with a lot of guilt, right? You like the process but you don't like the end, which means you will be left with regret, which
Do you
means
like
you
the
will be left
process or you don't like the end, or do you don't like the process or you like the outcome of it? Like getting up at
if
4
you
a.m.
don't
for a
like the
job.
process but you like the end, that more or less, at least in my perspective, in my life, it more likely relates to things that you have to do to better yourself, which you're uncomfortable in.
Like getting up at 4 a.m. for a job compared to watching porn for the final
Exactly.
output.
That was the example that I was going to bring up as well.
But he's too afraid or shy to set out in media.
I was about
So I am brave enough to talk about it. You can cancel me, but you can't cancel him. He's the good cop here.
Masturbation is the best example. The process is pleasurable for any person who is doing it.
It's not personal experience. It's what we read on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Wikipedia definition இங்க இருக்கு.
மதனுக்கு ஒரே மேட்ச் போட்டிருக்கேன் நம்மளது போடாத.
So, but the end result will leave you leaving shallow or having a void in your heart.
Again, it's subject to 95% of the studies. Studies state that 95% of the men feel that way, and only 23% of women feel that way. So, yeah, after the climax, most men feel guilty, whereas women feel the vice versa. You can comment about it. So, yeah.
That's an interesting
So, it
fact.
doesn't just mean you feel shallow. It applies being shallow for both the genders. It's subject to again for the genders as well. I'm pretty sure you know about this fact, but he's too shy or hesitant to talk about it.
No, actually, I didn't know about this fact. I personally feel guilty after doing it. I should do it. Yeah, no, you're 25, man. Oh, so I personally should have do it for you. Yeah, I'm going to do it for you. I'll use after it. Yeah, I'm also like, you should do it. It's abstinence.
So coming to a conclusion, we have spoken a lot about fun and sin. So ultimately, the take-home message is you have to come to a clear set of rules or ethics based on your consciousness and set it up and lead your life. If you stay religious, stick to it. I know no one can be perfect as much as Christ was and is so and will be. So if you can't, you're a human. To err is human, to forgive is divine. Quote by Abhishek. So yeah, keep repeating the same thing again and again. You fall and you rise. That is fine. You're being religious. For those who are not religious, catch some few good points which you consider worthwhile, collected from Buddhism, Christianity, even Hinduism, Judaism, whatever it is. Follow follow your own set of 10 commandments or 100 commandments or one commandment. Follow it and lead a life where you don't feel guilty for most of the time, so that you can actually be at peace. When you hit your head against a pillow tonight, you need not feel bad or have some remorse or regret for doing something. I think the coke is so my dear brother is searching for it. So yeah, he wouldn't feel a pinch of regret when he hits his head against a pillow tonight for drinking that much amount of coke. Am I right?
Yeah.
So with that, we both would like to show you a sponsor, Bingo's popped chips. So what's popping? Well, 30% less fat. I know you're fat and not fit like us. So any final words?
Yeah.
Except for that bad word, curse word. Who
Yeah.
calls it a bad word or a curse word? For example, I know you clearly didn't hear it from him, but he did use a word which was inappropriate. So who considers appropriateness and inappropriateness? Our civilization, our generations, human, we created it.
That's actually a good topic to talk about. Actually.
So yeah, maybe we'll. I think the universe is leading us, or God is leading us into a good topic for the next episode. And yeah, signing off. It's epic.
One thing I want to add
Oh.
is, I'll add and then we'll end.
Normal brokey life. Go to this extreme. If you are neither into debts nor into brokenness, stay in the lukewarm level, just like how you are. So what do you think?
Yeah. Again, the only solution that I can find, that I could find, maybe some people,
Which you follow?
yeah, which some people could find some other solutions for. But for me personally, find fun in the things that you need to do. So instead of doom scrolling, or instead of watching porn, or instead of doing something that is a waste of your time, either try to monetize or escalate or elevate what you're currently doing into something that will change your life. For example, if you're stuck with playing games, and if you're so addicted to playing games, why not start the streaming channel? And then,
Projection.
yeah, projection. It can be projection. So why not start the streaming channel wherein you only need to learn how to be funny, and then people will start to follow you. Find the fun in the situation you are in. It needn't be something that you have to love. Whatever stress that you are in, find the comfort in it, and keep deriving fun from it, and you won't essentially have a burnout from it.
That's all we would like to say in this episode. Episode number infinity. Who knows? Yes, catch you guys in the next episode of Kumar Talks. It's nice meeting you. And here we are, being consistent, sticking to what we said, what we will be doing. So yeah, be a man of your word, or even a woman. So catch you next week. Stay tuned. See ya.
Seri.